Saturday morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope everybody is well. This is episode 362 of 4-3 Sports Talk. Good to have you again. I have scores, news, and when we talk about the NFL 32 and 32, it takes us to the AFC South. And let me just give a huge shout out to Duval County. Yeah, today we're breaking down the Jags draft. The USFL makes its return to the show tomorrow. So let's just begin, right? We will begin with the Philadelphia Phillies firing manager Joe Girardi, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. You knew it was gonna happen. He went 132 and 141 as manager, a little bit over 2 years with the Philadelphia Phillies. Wow. Oh, wow. Anyway, Houston Astros slugger Jordan Alvarez and team agree on a 6-year, $115 million contract extension. Beginning next season, effectively buying out 3 of his free agent years. It's the biggest contract ever for a guy whose primary position is DH, designated hitter. The free agent buyout earns him an extra $26 million. Wow. That's awesome. A nice way to negotiate that contract. Alex Mack, after an offseason of will he or won't he and all that bullshit, the former Falcon and Brown who followed coach Kyle Shanahan from Cleveland to Atlanta to San Francisco, has decided to hang him up. 13 years, 204 games, and 3 teams in the NFL, and he was on top of his game, playing at a high level, earning 7 Pro Bowl bids, 3 second All-Pro nods, and a spot in the Hall of Fame's All-Decade team in 2010. Alex Mack, feel bad for him because he played for some shitty teams. I mean, came close to sniffing a ring once. Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford are drawing closer to a deal for the undisputed welterweight championship fight. The fight is to take place in October, so definitely look out for that. So I wanted to bring that up. The New York Rangers possess a 2-0 series lead, handling the Lightning, its first consecutive playoff loss. The score was 3-2 though. Since 2019, Game 3 is tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Only difference is the series moves to Tampa Bay on Sunday. I'm sorry. New York Yankees make MLB history as Garrett Cole lost a perfect game in the 7th inning. One night after his teammate and fellow pitcher Jameson Taillon, his perfect game bid was blown, completely fucking done for in the 8th inning. Even though the Yankees still won both of these games. The LA Dodgers open up with $310 million to them. Their payroll, they're also set to pay a record $47 million, tax bill. It's outrageous. Could you imagine if your taxes were that high? Anyway, that's it for the news. NHL, like we talked about in the beginning, Rangers over the Lightning at 3-2. The Rangers lead the series 2-0. Starting to get scary over there. That's it for hockey. Let's talk baseball now. St. Louis over Chicago Cubs 14-5. San Fran over Miami 15-6. Washington over Cincinnati 8-5. Philly beats Los Angeles 10-0. And it's kind of funny how the day that Joe Girardi is finally out of the Phillies, clubhouse, whatever, ballpark, whatever, and they fucking win. They snapped their win streak. Or they snapped their losing streak, I'm sorry. 10-0. The Angels, however, are on the other side of that coin with an 11-game losing streak now. Arizona over Pittsburgh 8-6. Yankees all over the Detroit Tigers 13-0. Wow. Minnesota over Toronto 9-3. Tampa Bay over the White Sox 6-3. Seattle 4, Texas 3. Houston 10, Kansas City Royals 3. San Diego over Milwaukee 7-0. I believe they're going to win this series. Atlanta over Colorado in 10 innings 3-1. Boston Red Sox, yay, my Red Sox win over Oakland 7-2, and the Dodgers over the Mets 6-1. Snaps the Mets and that little streak they had going on. Anyway, let's talk NCAA softball. UCLA over Northwestern 6-5, and Arizona over Oregon State 3-1. That's it for NCAA softball. WNBA, we have New York over Washington 74-70, Chicago over Atlanta 73-65, Connecticut over Phoenix 98-88, and Dallas over Seattle 68-51. NCAA baseball, Florida State over UCLA 5-3. Number 2 Stanford over Binghamton 20-7, and number 1 Tennessee Volunteers over Alabama State 10-0. San Diego over Vandy 3-2. UVA over Coastal Carolina 7-2. Florida over Central Michigan 7-3. Michigan over Oregon 8-6. VCU over UGA 8-1. Virginia versus Georgia, and Virginia Tech over Wright State 15-9. We have more. Maryland over Long Island 23-2. Oklahoma State over Missouri State 10-5. Auburn over Southeast Louisiana 19-7. The Raging Cajuns 7. TCU Horned Frogs 6. And Texas State over UC Santa Barbara 7-3. Western Mass Sports. Now we'll talk boys tennis. The Class B championship game. Amherst over Belchertown 5-0. Class B champions are the Amherst Hurricanes. A volleyball state tournament Division II round of 32. West Springfield over Randolph 3-0. Lowell Catholic over Putnam 3-0. Longmeadow over Greater Lawrence 3-2. Western Mass looking strong so far. Leominster over Southwick 3-0, and Agawam over Keefe Tech by the same score 3-0. Baseball state high school baseball tournaments. Division I Lowell over Cy Tech 13-4. In Division II Oliver Ames over Amherst 2-1, and Holliston over Agawam 7-2. Damn, Western Mass 0-3, just like that. Division III, Bishop Fenwick over Belchertown 4-3. 0-4. Division V, Mount Everett over Springfield International Charter 4-0. McCann Tech over Westfield Tech 17-16. This one was freaking impressive. Westfield Tech is 16-4 on the year. They have a 2-game losing streak to end their season. That the expectations were kind of high, but the play was even higher, in my opinion. Lennox over Drury 8-4, and Sturgis East over South Shore 3-2. Now we move on to tennis. The girls' side, Division II Northampton over Dartmouth 3-2, and Ludlow over Somerville 5-0. Division IV, Millis over Pioneer Valley Chinese Immersion Charter School 4-1. Softball, Division I, Concord Carlisle over Everett 2-1. And Newton South over Brockton 5-0. Division II, Ludlow over Amherst 14-0. Division IV, wow, they couldn't do that in the regular season. Division IV, Malden Catholic over Southwick 4-2. And that is it for Western Mass Sports. Now we are on to the NFL's 32-32 AFC South Day. We're starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I got a lot to talk about with them. So, a dismal 3-14 record in the NFL's first 17-game season. There was a lot of new to this football team. New head coach, enter Urban Meyer. He is definitely a difference maker wherever he goes, whether it was Bowling Green, the 2 titles with the Florida Gators in 2006 and 2008. And then one came later in his career in 2014 as the head coach at Ohio State. Here he is as the Jaguars head coach. A new start. Finally, the NFL job he has always wanted. With Urban here, we can just as well assume that the wins will be piling up and soon to be Super Bowls, right? Yeah? They took Clemson's Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick, so again, he was set up for greatness. Let's just think of these. Put these in the back of your head really quickly. So they took his teammate also as well, who's injured with the left Frank injury. Travis Etienne, a.k.a. An Alvin Kamara-like back, in my opinion, who can do it all. Came out of Clemson. He got hurt during rookie minicamp, again, with that left Frank injury, and was gone for the season before he could even play a snap. Now he's almost 100%, and in my eyes is primed for a hell of a season. I believe that the Jaguars are going to take advantage of his prowess in the passing game. Just think collegiately, he caught 102 passes for 1,155 yards, 8 scores. Fuck what you heard. He's got hands. I don't care what anyone else was saying. Now let's see what this class brings to the table in Duval County. This draft class. Here we go. With the number one overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars took Travon Walker, edge rusher out of Georgia. 2 days is all it took for Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson to fall from his projected number one spot. And here emerges Travon Walker. Not going to say it was a total surprise, because as long as I've been watching him and film, I see the boom, the precision timing he has on his blitzes, the above average speed for the position, the way he uses his arms to engage linemen in the run game, and then boom, tackle for loss, or Trey ends up with a sack. He does everything pretty well, but there's a catch. Georgia's system only asks Travon to do a few things, not primarily rushing the passer. That's one of them. Occasionally he'd line up as a strong side linebacker, and he was very effective as a blitzer. I'd say moderately as compared to when he was in his three-point stance. But most of the time he's just a quick crash the hole and damn, the play is there. So traditionally wasn't asked to rush the passer on 3 downs consistently, and have enough snaps consistently at defensive end either. He got sacks, yes, but those were very situational and not as a straight-up pass rusher or bull rusher. So anyway, this is not to say that he doesn't have good physical measurables, or like that he does not know how to do it a different way. And physically, he has the build to be an inside-outside defender, like defensive tackle, defensive end. I don't really think linebacker at the next level. But then again, I'm not a GM. I think he doesn't know how to do it a different way. As far as his balance, I think people like that balance anyway. But defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell's going to run a base 3-4 scheme, as confirmed by new head coach, former Green Bay Packers backup to Brett Favre, Doug Peterson, 2 months ago. So Travon should be able to make the transition, I think. At Georgia, the defense that was probably one of the best units ever assembled, period, in NCAA history. It's a nickel-based tight front defense with many different facets, adjustments, substitutes. It's a complex system that Travon was able to flourish in. I'm sure in time that he's going to be a player that we will never forget, or maybe just another draft bust as first overall pick. They had another first round pick, 20th overall. They took Devin Lloyd out of Utah. The Jags were aggressive to jump back into the first round in search of another versatile, high-motor defender. This is exactly who this young man is in my eyes. He's a downhill thumper who absolutely loves to make the big hit. Not to mention he has great speed and acceleration, so he tends to be an asset more than a liability in pass coverage. He has a very high IQ, so he is going to pick up a lot of different responsibilities within this defense as well. He projects very well, and I believe at some point he will be an annual Pro Bowl attendee. Third round, 65th overall, Luke Fortner, interior offensive line out of Kentucky, interchangeable guy. Third round, 70th overall, Chad Muma, linebacker out of Montana. I know a lot about this guy. He was on my top 10 linebackers list. He is an all-around beast at the linebacker position. Came into focus as a sophomore, 51 tackles. And just started to get better, started to get more playing time on defense as opposed to special teams. As a junior, he improved his game, and in the film room and on the field. 72 tackles, 8.5 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks. He was invited to the Senior Bowl, but didn't attend. As you know, he wanted to prepare for the 2022 NFL Draft. One of the best linebackers in the draft, honestly, of all the ones that got picked this year. Expect Chad to crack the starting lineup at some point early in the season, just because it's not really clear who the starters are atop the depth chart with this team. 5th round, 154th overall, Snoop Connor, a halfback out of Ole Miss. This was an interesting pick, honestly. All I can say is, last year they drafted Travis Etienne in the first round. They have other veteran halfbacks on the roster. I'm not sure what the plans are here with Connor, or how he fits into what they have going. But the Jags brass sees something that I apparently don't, and I can't wait to see what it is. 6th round, 197th overall, Gregory Jr. is a corner from Ouachita Baptist Community College. Wow, that was a reach. In recent years, the Jacksonville Jaguars have spent seriously significant draft capital on defensive backs who have yielded little to no return. So them selecting a defensive back here isn't really surprising, but it kind of was like when you think relatively, it kind of wasn't, they got kind of thin at the position is what I'm trying to say. So this guy's upside, though, his measurables and raw talent were enough for the trigger to be pulled. He can be a special teams contributor immediately. The speed and the length, and then he could use this time to figure out what his role is in the NFL, what he's going to do, because it's clearly undefined. Pretty sure he wasn't even expecting to get drafted. 7th round, 222 overall, Montark Brown, corner out of Arkansas. Personally, one of my favorite corners, and he is in the SEC. Go figure, huh? His insane work ethic and uncanny ability to come up with interceptions and the physicality to force fumbles alone are going to be what gets him on the team and not cut. And then he just has to build on his physical gifts and come into his own within this defense. And that is it for the Jaguars. Scouting on our draft picks and episode 362. Rahim Escalai. Go see us at YouTube. 48 subscribers over there. And thank you for what you continue to do and contribute to us on Facebook. I love you all. Wishing nothing but health, wealth, and success. And I'll see you tomorrow morning.